3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back. Enough with Glenn Miller. Shawn Tarrant's in the house.
Good morning.
Good morning. Delegate Shawn Tarrant, 40th District, is started a writing campaign after the videos produced by sitting Delegate Frank Conaway Jr., who came in second during the primary. And interesting things happened that Shawn Tarrant decided he was going to do a writing campaign. Because of that, people who ran for that office but didn't win in that primary have said that they have real issues with Frank Conaway and have made that very clear. Some of them called him when he gets them in a minute. But before we get to them, very quickly, we hear their voices. And Frank Conaway, I'm not sure if this is junior or senior in the line, has called in. We'll get that call as well. Shawn, very quickly, tell us, what is it? Why did you, people say, look, man, you lost the race, so what are you doing?
Well, the thing is, I did narrowly lose the race coming in fourth place. It was a very chaotic race. It was a very short time once we got out of session. And so it was very unfortunate. A lot of people were very hurt that I didn't win because I'm the person that moved up in leadership, being Chief Deputy Majority Whip in Annapolis, and worked really hard in the district. And so once the videos that Frank Conaway Jr. Filmed of himself and put up on YouTube, and people started seeing those videos. They started talking about things that a lot of us had already known, that Frank Conaway Jr. Had some issues and wasn't quite fit to serve. And so people called me and said, hey, Shawn, you got to get back in there and serve the people because we need you in Annapolis. And so we've been on this journey for about 9 days, and we've gotten 4 articles written in various newspapers. I got the Afro endorsement and front page write-in. And so and having 5 people, as you mentioned, that came together without my knowledge and decided that, hey, we've got to do something. We got to think about the district first. The 40th District comes first. And we do know Shawn as a write-in candidate and the current delegate will serve us well in Annapolis.
Well, a very quick question here. I'm going to get right to the phones here. Join us here at 410-319-8888. We're going to first talk to some of the people who ran in that race and their thoughts, and we are going to get to Frank Conaway as well. This we found out it's senior, not junior, who called in. 410.
The clerk of the court.
The clerk of the court. We invited Delegate Conaway to come in, but we had not heard back from him to join. We invited him to come in studio to have a conversation with you directly. But 410-319-8888 is a number here. But so. What is it about the videos that made you all of a sudden?
Well, it's not Shawn Tarrant watching the video and
saying.
What
is it then?
Well, it's the videos that were written about by the Sun paper. It was the Sun paper that wrote about it first, okay? And so they highlighted it, and then Fox 45 did a story on it. And so I'm watching like everybody else. I'm like, well, the people that are very active, that go to neighborhood meetings, come down to Annapolis, this is not a revelation for them. This is just something to say, I told you so, that this guy, it should not be where he is in Annapolis. It's got a recognizable name, and that's how people vote. And so that's why I got involved. And people said, hey, Shawn, you've got to do something to get back in there. And sometimes, the good thing is in the democratic process that you do have an opportunity to make yourself available as a write-in candidate, and that's what I've done. And it's for the people to decide. They've got another opportunity. I got an email before I walked into the studio where a gentleman thanked me. His name is Ben. I won't use his last name, but he said, thank you for another opportunity to vote for you in this process.
Well, let me go to the phones here now. I want to bring Doc Cheatham, Bill Marker, and Rob LaPin on the conversation here before we turn to Frank Conaway Sr., who's clerk of the court and father of the sitting delegate. But let me bring these 3 gentlemen in who ran in this race. I think Doc came in actually 5th after you in that race. So Doc Cheatham, Bill Marker, and Rob LaPin, welcome. Good to have the 3 of you with us.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
So Doc, let me start with you, if I might.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks so much for having me on. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good to hear your voice. But so talk a bit about your perspective, because you were clear. I think this wasn't necessarily saying I'm for Shawn Tarrant, but what happened? Why did you even enter the conversation?
Well, I would have to say one, I guess, different from some of these discussions that have been had on other stations. This is not something that Doc Cheatham originated. I was one of the last ones called in to join. I had just been troubled even during the election process of the type of responses we were getting at these candidates' forums. But the most important thing to me was that I'm president of a major community association that has zero responses from the person that we've elected, the person that we have paid to represent us, and issue after issue. And I'm talking about critical issues. I'm not talking about just plain old everyday issues. Every one of the issues that we try to reach out to this particular elected official, not his father, who will probably be the one who will call, we need to hear from him. And we've not heard from this individual. And we're saying that as a community association, as a leader, I must ask for and expect a representative who is representing my community to at least respond. Not necessarily agree or disagree with me, but at least respond. And this elected official has not responded to anything, not come to any meetings, not emailed us, not called us since January 1. And I'm saying if this is what we and I can expect for the rest of the year, then we need someone else to represent us.
And Rob, let me ask you for your thoughts. Rob LaPin.
Well, LaPin, actually. I agree with Doc Cheatham 100% exactly everything that he said. I mean, I have another personal note when the people of Southwest Baltimore were fighting the CSX facility that was planned to be built there that would basically add to pollution, that would hurt our children, congest the streets, hurt the property values, basically just hurt a working class neighborhood. When I reached out to all of the delegates, Shawn Tarrant was the first one to reach back out to us, the first one to actually listen to the people's pleas, and this was before the district change, before he was even before Southwest Baltimore was even part of the 4th District. Now, meanwhile, Frank Conaway Jr., on the other hand, multiple phone calls, multiple emails, went to his office twice in Annapolis and dropped off a packet with our concerns, with the concerns of Southwest Baltimore, never even got a phone call back, never even looked at the packet. And that's just one example of many examples, and Doc has many more examples of how this individual just is detached from the people of the 40th District, and how the needs, and we have a lot of need in the 40th District. We have a lot of kids that need a lot of things. We have a lot of people that need a lot of things. And we need someone like Shawn Tarrant, someone that's not Frank Conaway Jr., who just ignores the people. And Shawn Tarrant is a guy that never ignored me and never ignored the people of Southwest Baltimore. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest reason why I started to support Shawn Tarrant so heavily in this writing campaign.
So, and let me go before we come back to Shawn and get back to the phones here. Bill Marker.
Hi.
Bill.
Yeah, I mean, spending several months campaigning, I saw Barbara down in the southwest part of the district, which is new to the 40th District, Violetville, Morrow Park, Pigtown, Ridgely's Delight. I saw Barbara Robinson. I saw Shawn Tarrant. I saw their signs. I saw no indication of Conaway trying to even reach out to the new part. I think he came to the one official forum, but no campaign effort, which ties into what I'd heard about him as an ineffectual delegate, and it made it easy to say, Shawn, who's been involved and has reached out, Shawn would be a major improvement for the people of the 40th District over Frank Conaway Jr. We were careful in our statement to say, vote for Antonio Hayes, vote for Barbara Robinson, and then write in Shawn Tarrant, because that's the best option for serving the people of Southwest Baltimore and all of the 40th District.
So, this is kind of really unprecedented in some ways, because, as I said to you the other day, just in the hallway here after you did the radio program here on Shawn's program Friday night, or Thursday night, whatever that was.
I didn't know I had my own program, but that sounds wonderful. Thank you, Mark.
Well, I think just hear your man. Shawn Yost, man, not you.
Oh, Shawn Yost.
It's unprecedented for a writing candidate to ever win. Something I said to Russell Neverdon when he was in the show last week as well. It's
worth the effort.
And the thing is making that statement, I think that when you look at what's going on, a write-in candidate usually should only really enter unless there's something extremely odd going on that makes people wake up and say, we've got to really make a change here. And that's what happened, where you had these reports that were out by a third party, by Sun Papers, by Fox 45, and people calling me and saying, hey, we have to do something. And that's how I feel that we're going to be much more successful, because the interviews that I've had and the responses that I've gotten in an 8 to 9 day period, no one has gotten over in a full year's time as far as campaigning. So it is serious. This is very, as we say in my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, there's an alarm at the gate. It is. I mean, we can't pretend that there's no alarm at the gate. I had people show up last night at my volunteer party who didn't even call me in advance to tell me they were coming. They just showed up and say, hey, man, I'm here to help. Give me a shirt. Give me that. That doesn't happen much. A lot has to be going on for people to just come off the street and say, where can you put me? I want to help.
So let me do this, and I appreciate the call just called in. Should we go to this, Frank Conaway? Let's go to Frank Conaway Sr., who's on the line. We did write to Frank Conaway Jr. to join us. We also wrote to Frank Conaway Sr. as both to have their thoughts. Let them know this was going on, as we did the other two candidates that are in this race who won in the primary. We also called them, so we wanted to be kind of free and open. Everybody has an opportunity to say what they have to say. 410-319-8888. Clerk of the court, Frank Conaway, you're on the air.
Well, thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it. This opportunity to talk to a bunch of losers. I would rather talk to a bunch of winners. How many times do we have to defeat these people before they go away? This is so ridiculous. Now, I feel sorry for Mr. Tarrant because he's having some problems. He's been kicked out of his house.
Well, we're going to just interrupt for a second, Mr. Conaway, just with all due respect. One of the things we try to do in this program is not to play games about people's personal lives. It's just whatever happens that's not the reality. That's one of the reasons people are talking about your son, who won't talk in the public. So I think we should just keep this kind of on a higher level.
We can end this conversation if you want to.
I didn't say end it. I just said keep it on a higher level.
This is a high level when someone gets kicked out of their house and they get kicked out of the legislature. I mean, surely they are upset, So I don't know why you don't want that talked about. There was something in the court file that said that you're the
clerk of the court, sir, and so you misrepresented yourself and prying into my personal life. You're a man that has had marital issues. Your son has had marital issues. That has nothing to do with the 40th District and the people of the 40th District and what they want to do. Now, if you want to talk about your son's accomplishments for him, as if your dad coming down to the principal's office, I don't have my mom or dad here trying to help me out. I wish he was here on the air to talk about the 40th District and talk about what we can do for the people in Baltimore City, and not to talk about personal issues.
Well, I mean, the question is this, and this is a legitimate question, since you both are on the show here right now. I mean, Frank is called in, Frank Conaway Sr., you're here, Shawn Tarrant, that there's an argument being made by some that, okay, you lost the election, so is this just a grudge match because you're running because you lost the election and came in fourth and didn't win the delegate seat? That's a piece of this, right? But the other part is, that I'll come back to in a moment, to Frank Conaway Sr., is that, I mean, there are a lot of people who, when they watch those videos, and I happen to watch all of them, question what was going on in those videos and why he was rambling in some almost incoherent way about all these topics. It was pretty startling for most folks who watched it. So, but these are both legitimate questions. But let me start with the first with Shawn. I mean, there is a legitimate question to ask you. I mean, about you're running, you lost.
I lost. However, there is a process as a write-in candidate if something is to happen, or you just want to write it in general. And like I said, because of Frank Conaway Jr., the delegate, deciding on himself to videotape himself and to upload these videos to YouTube, and then the news covering it. People, as you already stated, were disturbed by them. And as Doc Cheatham eloquently said earlier, that in a lot of meetings, they were wondering what was going on with him and how could he be able to serve us in his current capacity. And so with 5 people coming together. And the people who are on the call now, the 3 of the 5, it's not as if we're all college pals. We went to college, high school together. You know, these are all individuals. You got Kiana Cook, a black woman. You got Bill Market and Rob LaPin, 2 white men who live in Southwest. And you got soul brother number 1, Doc Cheatham. So very diverse group of people coming together to say, you know, we can do better. And also, I'm sorry, and Douglas Barry, another white gentleman from Medfield, who's become a friend. And one of the reasons why I believe they're doing it, because not only have I reached out to the communities, when we were running, if any of them called me, I always returned their call, and I was always decent, I was always respectful, and I honored what they were trying to do and didn't see it as a personal attack. And so that's why I've been blessed with 5 very diverse people from diverse communities coming together and say, we can do better, and the 40th District will do better tomorrow when they write in Shawn Tarrant. It's just 2 easy steps as far as clicking right in and then typing in Shawn Tarrant. And so that's how I see it.
Clerk Conaway.
He must vote against, he can't vote against the governor. He's a whip. He's a whip.
Is that a bad thing to move up in seniority? And so when Baltimore City needs to get things done, that I'm in leadership, like Senator Catherine Pugh, like Senator McFadden, like Senator Joan Carter Conway, like Delegate Maggie McIntosh, who is the chairwoman of Environmental Matters, and Peter Hammond, who's the chairman of Health and Government Operations. It's a good thing to be in leadership. We're down to 16 delegates. So absolutely it's important for me to be in leadership and work with the current Democratic administration. And so when we've all voted for transportation and also for school construction, all senators, all delegates, except for your son, voted for transportation. And if you don't vote for transportation, you didn't vote for the school construction bill. And so the thing is, I'm proud to say that I voted with my colleagues, my well-respected colleagues that are in leadership. And I moved up into leadership because I was doing a good job. I was appointed by the Speaker of the House, Michael Bush.
So the question is, part of this came up, and we did ask that your son to join us. And do you have a sense of why Delegate Conaway would not join us on the air?
We met as a family and made a decision that he was not going to talk with losers. It's very simple. Very simple. No point of going over already conquered grass.
But he could. I mean, as delegate, let's say he didn't want to talk to Shawn Tarrant one-to-one. That's fine.
Well, he didn't want to talk about the subjects that they were bringing up. I mean, that's ridiculous. Don't they have any religion? Of course, they don't put anything in writing about religion because they don't have any.
What's that got to do?
I'm a deacon at Union Baptist Church.
I know, and that's where you were served papers, too, by your wife.
No, you're incorrect. And again, as a man who's been married a couple of times yourself, I would say that we should stay away from 20-plus years of marriage and disrespecting my current wife because I'm not divorced. So the thing is, please stay out of my family business, and I'll stay out of your personal family business, Mr. Clerk of the Court.
She kicked you out, man.
All right, so
and it's cold.
All right, so that. But, we're not going there in this program. I said that before. We don't take this game of people's personal lives and what they do or don't do. And all of us, if we open that closet door, there's some clanking going on. So we're not going there. But let me go to the phones here. Do we have time to go to the phones? We better take a quick break. We're going to come right back. I'm going to thank Clerk of the Court, Frank Conaway Sr. for joining us. We'll be right back to finish our conversation with Shawn Tarrant. Take these 2 calls that came in from Thomas and Leo and come right back to finish the conversation with Shawn Tarrant.
Thank you.
1957, on CBS, Ed Sullivan accidentally cut off Sam Cooke mid-song with You Send Me. It wasn't given enough time to finish the song for the night show, so Ed Sullivan invited the singer back the next month to make up for it. Sam Cooke, the great Sam Cooke. We're here with Shawn Tarrant, who has launched a writing campaign to challenge Frank Conaway, Delegate Frank Conaway Jr., after these videos were put out, and the Sun wrote about the videos. The radio talk shows talked about the videos and wondered what was going on because they sounded some kind of incoherent and the rest, and so it raised a lot of issues and Shawn around the race. And so we've asked Delegate Conaway to join us either one-on-one or with with our guest, Shawn Tarrant, but I have not heard back from him. Delegate Frank Conaway. 410-319-8888. Thomas, you're on the air. Welcome, Thomas. You're on the air.
Hey, Mr. Mark. Good afternoon. Morning to you and to your guests, by the way.
Good afternoon.
My question for Mr. Tarrant. Mr. Tarrant, are you still a member, a resident of the 40th District?
Yes.
If we in the 40th District choose not to send you back, will we still see you in the neighborhood?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a part of my life. I mean, I served as the president and vice president of Ashburton for 10 years. So it's not a part of, if I'm not in office. I mean, my organization, as far as being on the board of the foundation of Kappa Alpha Psi, and that's actually our new facility that we're able to get bond bill money for, actually is in the 40th district. So that's just a part of me. So absolutely.
410-319-8888 is the number here. Let's go to Nathaniel. You're on the air. Nathaniel, welcome. You're on the air.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to, I'm on the other side, but the Conways have been in office a long time. I haven't seen the videos, but, I mean, I love how, this political process is going on. And that last comment of Mr. Tarrant, when he told him, how he flipped the whole personal thing on his head, you knocked out a couple words.
Nathaniel, you're breaking up here at the end. All right, let's go to Leo. You're on the air. Leo, you're on the air. Welcome.
Yes, good morning. Marc Steiner.
Good morning.
Shawn Tarrant and everyone. I am very active in the community affairs, and I'm very disappointed in Brother Shawn Tarrant. I don't feel that he has legitimacy in this argument or any other. He, although he's not in my district, I feel that in the position that he holds in the legislature and the seniority that he hasn't led the fight for job creation. He hasn't led the fight against police brutality. He hasn't done a whole lot of things that he could have done because he's busy being proud of Mike Miller and Mike Bush. Let me tell you that with regard to this dirt bike situation, and he's heard me say it before, he could have been an arbitrator.
I sat down with the young man who was the star of the 12 O'Clock Boys, Pug. We were at the building at 3939 and Park Heights discussing what we could do as far as bringing in a dirt bike track in Baltimore City. President Jack Young would like to see that. And so we've got to try to find a solution and make sure that the people who are riding dirt bikes would like to ride on this track. And we've got to also see how we're going to get insurance for that. And so I've done a lot. I mean, I even had a dirt bike myself when I was a kid. So it's not about Shawn Tarrant doing anything to harm our children. I mean, I'm the one that was proud to vote for decriminalization of marijuana. My opponent did not vote for decriminalization of marijuana. Then that's something that often locks up our black youth as far as when they get caught with one small joint. But as far as when it comes to dirt bikes, I've been the champion. A lot of the community people who drive on our streets, they want to be safe. Everybody should be safe. I'm disappointed in you calling in advocating for somebody to ride a motorcycle without insurance, registration, or a helmet. And that's not the way that Maryland law operates. You are required to wear a helmet. You should have insurance. You have registration, and you should have a license. So we're making sure that does happen, and we will hopefully get a sponsor to have a dirt bike track in Baltimore City. So I'm working on that with some of the leaders in Baltimore City and also some of the dirt bike riders, and they were glad that I was open to hear their concerns so people can enjoy dirt bike riding in Baltimore City.
We only have a couple minutes left in this segment because we have another segment coming up that we've pushed back so we could have an equal time here. And we did again invite Frank Conaway Jr. for a one-on-one or to sit down with us here to be part of this conversation. And we called the other delegates who are also in this general election in the 40th district. And 410-319-8888. One final call very quickly. Will, you're on the air. Hi, Will, you there?
I'm here.
Go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Will.
Delegate Tarrant.
Good morning, sir.
This is Will Hanna.
Hey, Will.
Hey, I have a question and a concern. For the past few years, we've talked about funding in Park Heights. Delegate Tarrant, you served as a member of the PCDA board for a number of years.
Yes.
My concern is, how would you say that funding that has come through Park Heights, which over the past 5 years has been over $15 million in racetrack and slots revenue, how would you account for those funds and where they have not gone in Park Heights?
Well, the thing is, the money that has gone to Park Heights, and let's back up a little bit. The reason why there's even money there is because the 41st District delegates and the 41st District team and the 40th District team made sure that there would be some impact funds. Even though we didn't want to have the casino located in Park Heights, we felt we didn't want to make another Atlantic City where people watching people gamble and tearing down a neighborhood around them, and the kids are watching that. So we advocated to have that casino move to downtown Baltimore, but we still were able to negotiate and get funds for Park Heights as impact money. Now it's not $15 million sounds, and it is a lot of money. However, there are a lot of needs in Park Heights. There are a lot of needs in the surrounding areas, the catchment areas that they've also included in the area. And so I would just say that we did the best we can, and we continue to do the best we can to make sure that the money is given out mainly to Park Heights, where we have the racetrack, Will. But you and I both know when you're in these meetings and you've got different organizations vying for money, competing against each other, it never ends up necessarily, and everybody is thrilled when they walk out the room. There are going to be some people that are disappointed. But I will continue to advocate and work and make sure that Park Heights is the focus. And I know that that's always been your passion and your focus, Will. And so I look forward to doing that, but it always seems like it's never enough money. And I really, really thank you for your call and your dedication to Park Heights, Will.
Well, we have to wrap this segment up, and we've had a bunch of tweets in. I can't read them all, but they're all kind of saying, Marc Steiner, why are you doing this show? And I'm doing this show because basically they're saying I shouldn't be doing the show conversation right now. And I'm just a mass tweet back saying to those who tweeted in, we're doing the show because it's an issue that faces the citizens of Baltimore. The 40th District here in Baltimore is an important district, as are all the others. And you can argue whether this has merit or doesn't have merit, but that's what we are here for as a public radio show covering our local state and national politics, as well as our cultural life, is to raise the issues that are sometimes uncomfortable that we want to talk about and wrestle with. And this was one of those. Just like people who last week could say, I shouldn't have had Russell Neverdine in because he's not on the ballot and he's a write-in candidate. Well, he's running for state attorney and has a right to be heard. So, on these major races in our city. So that's why we're doing this. And so that's all I can say. But that's the way that is. And Shawn Tarrant, one final quick thought from you.
Quick thought, when you get to the ballots in the 40th District, just click in, write in, and then a type board comes up. You type in Shawn Tarrant, hit enter, and then you can return me back to Annapolis. I thank you all for your time. I thank those 5 candidates. And I thank the people from the 40th District that want to see us be a better district. And I appreciate all of the listeners, and thank you, Mark, and also Morgan State University, one of our finest HBCUs in the country.
Oh, and I said, I misread the tweets, but I won't. They were saying someone else was sounding ridiculous, but it wasn't you. But I won't get into all that. Thank you all for joining us in this segment. We'll have to take a very quick break. We will talk to Shawn Tarrant and or Mr. Conaway, whoever, on Wednesday morning to see how this all turned out.
Yes.
And good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you so much.
See you soon. We'll take a break and come back to talk about tomorrow's race with our 3 guests. Who's going to win, who's going to lose, what the issues are, what should we be talking about, and what these referendums are about. Stay with us.
When he goes walking by, he's my guy.
I'm Delegate Shawn Tarrant. Over the past 8 years, I've worked hard to faithfully represent the good people of the 40th District. We don't have time for gibberish or nonsensical talk. We need to take our neighborhood's issues like education, employment, and public safety seriously. If you want a representative that is responsive to your needs and respected by the lawmakers in Annapolis, I urge you to vote for me. Skip over Frank Conaway Jr. and write me in. Shawn Tarrant for 40th District Delegate,
I'm the candidate that makes sense.